Let's dive right into this explainer and completely shatter the biggest illusion you probably have about all your hard work at the gym. We're getting into the actual biology of muscle growth, hypertrophy, and honestly, the latest data is going to flip how you view your entire routine. So, where do you actually build muscle? Ask anyone on the gym floor and they'll point right to the weights. But here's the crazy part. If we zoom into the cellular level, you aren't building a single ounce of muscle while you're actually lifting. Literally zero. You see, you don't build muscle at the gym. You break it there. The actual building, that happens when you're sitting at your desk, when you're sleeping, or, just doing absolutely nothing on the couch. It's exactly like a construction site. You pay the crew with your sweat at the gym, but they don't swing a single hammer until you walk out the door. Okay, so how does the construction actually kick off? Well, when your muscle fibers are under heavy load, especially when they're lengthening, they physically deform. And that tension triggers a super specific molecular signal called MTC1. Basically, MTC1 is the biological foreman of your site. It grabs the megaphone and yells at your body to start building bigger, new protein. Now, for decades, fitness culture preached that you had to literally shred your muscles to pieces to grow. No pain, no gain, right? Well, a brand new 2025 review out of McMaster University completely debunks that. Muscles don't need to be torn. They just need to be loaded. It's the tension that does the heavy lifting, not the damage. We constantly confuse growth with soreness. Think about it. If extreme soreness equaled massive growth, marathon runners would cross the finish line and wake up with bodybuilder legs. That deep ache you're chasing, it's really just inflammation. It's just your body's cleanup crew sweeping up the mess. It is absolutely not a growth signal. Which brings us to the ticking clock for your gains. Right when your session ends, the actual biological building process, muscle protein synthesis, starts up, peaking at about 24 hours. But by hour 48, it is completely back to baseline. Boom, window closed. So that soreness you're feeling on Thursday from a Monday workout, that's literally just the janitors still mopping the floors while the actual builders went home days ago. So what does this all mean for how often you should train? Well, if you only hit a muscle group once a week, it grows for 48 hours and then just sits there doing absolutely nothing for 5 days. By training that muscle twice a week, you aren't just adding busy work. You are literally doubling your active construction window from 2 days to 4. But there's another massive missed opportunity hiding right inside your reps. Did you know your muscles can handle about 40% more force on the way down, the eccentric phase, than they can on the way up? That lowering portion of every single rep is an absolute biological goldmine. The problem is, most of us treat that lowering phase like it's just the annoying commute between reps. We drop down fast, pull up, and mentally check off the rep. But rushing that descent, you're skipping right past the exact moment where tension is at its absolute highest and where that vital MTC1 signal gets triggered the hardest. The fix here is super simple though. Fair warning, it is physically grueling. Just slow the lowering phase down to a minimum of 3 seconds. By strictly controlling that descent on every single rep, your tension goes through the roof and your gains will absolutely go bananas. Okay, so what happens when we finally leave the gym? This is where things get wild, because sleep is where a massive amount of hard work just falls apart. Just one single bad night of sleep drops your muscle protein synthesis by a staggering 18%. You're basically short-circuiting your own body's ability to use the heavy lifting you just did. And the hormonal impact? Oh, it's even worse. Just 1 week of getting 5 hours of sleep a night drops your testosterone by 10 to 15%. To put that into perspective, that is the exact same decline you'd get from aging an entire decade, all happening in a single week. You're literally aging yourself hormonally just by staying up late. The real-world cost of this is honestly mind-blowing. In one study, 2 groups ate the exact same diet, in the exact same calorie deficit. Sleep was the only difference. The sleep-deprived group lost 60% more muscle and 55% less fat. Same exact food, wildly different results. Sleep isn't just some cute wellness tip. It is literally half of your recovery equation. Now, the other half of that off-the-floor equation is your nutrition. Remember that MTC1 signal? It just screamed at your body to build new muscle, but it desperately needs raw materials to do it. If your protein intake is off, you basically paid the construction crew but totally forgot to order the steel and the concrete. Nothing gets built. We all kind of think we have a solid handle on our diets, right? Well, the data is pretty humbling. Studies show people consistently underestimate their food and calorie intake by up to 50%. We assume we're easily hitting those protein targets, but we are often falling completely short. And when it comes to building tissue, guessing just doesn't cut it. To get rid of that guesswork, apps like MacroFactor are a real game changer. Instead of tedious manual logging, it uses simple photo tracking. You just snap a pic of your plate. The coolest part is that it actually learns your unique metabolism and dynamically adjusts your targets every single week based on how your body responds. If you want to really dial in your materials, you can grab a free 14-day trial using the code YELLOWDUDE. So, tying this whole shebang together, here is your explicit blueprint for hypertrophy. First, progressively overload with harder variations and tension. Second, control that descent for 3 seconds minimum on every single rep. Third, accurately track your protein. And finally, sleep at least 7 hours. That sleep isn't a luxury, it is the literal environment where your gains manifest. Remember, your muscles completely finish their building cycle around hour 48, way before your soreness even peaked. So the next time you leave the gym thinking you crushed it, realize the crushing part is over. The next 48 hours are the whole game. So the real question is, are you going to keep chasing soreness and aging yourself with bad sleep, or are you finally going to load your muscles, feed them properly, get out of the way, and let them actually build?